First take on a Thursday. Clearly, I am riding solo, holding things down here in Bristol, CT, while Max and Stephen A, they're in their hometown in New York City. Gentlemen, hello, good morning. How are we?
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? What's going on, Max?
How you doing, Stephen A? Ready to go?
I'm always ready. You should know that by now. What's up?
Of course.
Here we go. Already with a little New York attitude because he's there. Let's get into it, gentlemen. I miss you, but it's okay. We'll see you again shortly.
I think you'll survive.
Oh, please. Ryan Fitzpatrick set a Jets season record for TD passes in 2015, but the knock this offseason as he lobbied for a new deal was that the Jets couldn't get it done when it counted. The Bills crushed the Jets, crushed their playoff hopes, handing them a loss in the final game of the season at Buffalo. So that was just the latest in a series of poor performances for Fitz. Against Rex Ryan teams, he's now only 1-8 in his career against Rex, including 0-2 last season. Stephen A, I want to start with you here. Who needs tonight's win more, the Jets or the Bills?
Well, I would tell you that it would be the Jets simply because of their schedule. I look at the Jets right now and I say to myself, excuse me, who do you have? You had Cincinnati in game one. You've got Buffalo tonight. Then after that, you got Kansas City, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Arizona. I mean, my Lord, if you can't beat the Bills tonight, you might start off this season 0-6. So I look at it that simply. That's what it comes down to. If I'm thinking about the career of Rex Ryan, obviously you would say him. But I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about what the Jets need, and I think that the Jets desperately need this game, Max.
I think the Bills are the team in a must-win situation here, Stephen. I hear what you're saying about the Jets' schedule, but the Jets are a good team. You're going to win some games. You're favored. You're supposed to lose. You're going to lose some games. You're supposed to win. That's the NFL. I don't think you can look at the schedule and just pencil in losses on all those games. The Bills, meantime, look, the Jets lost a close game at home to an excellent team. But they just gave their quarterback a short deal, and he was looking for Fitzpatrick a long deal, and the Jets looked at him and said, no, we're not giving you a long deal, given your age and, frankly, the quality of quarterback he is. Tyrod Taylor, on the other hand, from the Bills, got a $92 million contract. And when you looked at Tyrod Taylor last year, you said, that guy is the goods. But can you actually say that he's solidified his position among the top half of the quarterbacks in the NFL? No, not really. Short track record so far. The jury's still out on him. And against Baltimore, albeit on the road, he couldn't get anything done. The offense couldn't get anything done. I mean, they really had, forget about missing a field goal, okay, that they didn't lose by 3, they lost by 6. But they couldn't get anything done against Baltimore. Now they have a home game. It's a divisional game. You got to win this game. You can't go 0-2 in the season and lose to a divisional rival at home when Rex has already turned up the volume on how desperate the situation is, Stephen. The Bills must win this game. And by the way, look who's probably playing tonight, Sammy Watkins. You think they would risk Watkins on a short week, on a Thursday game, if they didn't view this game as must win? I think that's an indication the Bills know they got to have this game.
Well, I mean, they both have to have this game because now they could go 0-2. Watching Adam Schefter this morning, he reminded me that only 12% of the teams in NFL history started off 0-2, ultimately made the playoffs. So we understand that it's a level of urgency that gets attached to both squads, Max. But here's the deal. Here's my argument against the Bills. You got the Bills. They've got the Jets at home tonight, okay? They've got Arizona and New England on their schedule the next 2 weeks after this game. One is at home against Arizona. The other one is at New England. But then they close out that first stretch of the 6 games, the first 6 games of the season against the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. So conceivably, there are 2 wins, potentially 3 on the schedule for the Bills, and it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that they could end up 3-3 after 6 games, regardless of what transpires tonight. But when you look at the Jets, Seattle and Pittsburgh, I mean, I'm just looking at some of these guys on the Jets schedule right here, and I'm saying to myself, how are you going to pull this off? I don't know how they're going to pull this off. You've got Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's your starting quarterback. You acquired Matt Forte in the offseason. You're getting Sheldon Richardson back tonight after his 1-game suspension. That certainly helps you, considering the fact that the Jets' defense was already stout in terms of getting at the quarterback. At least that's what Week 1 indicated. Brandon Marshall can't drop a key pivotal pass for a first down that could have put them in field goal position. He's got to make amends for that because he simply has to catch those passes. But ultimately, I'm going to go back to their schedule here. After tonight, the Jets have Kansas City on the road, Seattle at home, then road games against Pittsburgh and Arizona. And I'm saying, look, that is no joke. You're talking here about 3 road games over your next 4 games after tonight's game on the road against Buffalo. If that ain't urgency for the New York Jets, I don't know what is. They've got to win tonight's game. They just have to do it.
You're absolutely right about the schedule. The Jets have a brutal schedule, and not that I thought they were going to make the playoffs this year anyway, but that is really a deciding factor. I don't think either the Bills or the Jets, neither of those teams, are playoff teams this year. And the schedule for the Jets certainly has a part of that. But when you look at the Jets as a team, every team you just mentioned, even with the home games, when they look at their schedules, even if they're favored, when they're determining, is this a tough schedule or an easy schedule, they see the Jets on there, that's a tough game. Jets are a good team. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. On top of everything else, who do you think is better, the Jets or the Bills? I think the Jets are better than the Bills. I think they're a better team than the Bills.
But schedule matters more. But schedule matters. Schedule, I understand what you're saying, but schedule matters just as much as talent. Yes, you could have a good team, but if you're playing monsters, as opposed to playing pigeons, that's a difference. If you're the Bills, you appear to, at least over the first 6 weeks, you have a considerably easier schedule than the New York Jets do. And I'm not selling out on the Jets at all. I think there's a level of urgency that's attached to this game. I think that's why they're going to show up in Buffalo tonight, which is why we're about to talk about the outcome.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor to me is the key for Buffalo. Really not a good performance week 1. He seemed hesitant to run, which is, once upon a time, quarterbacks were duped into not running even if they could. But obviously now, at least most people are enlightened. Hey, by the way, if you can do it, do it. And he seemed hesitant to do it, and they didn't get anything going in the passing game either. The Ravens have a good defense, and now they're at home. But the Jets can pass the ball, too. They have an attack with real receivers and a quarterback who's not a great quarterback, Fitzpatrick, after all. I mean, but he's a competent NFL quarterback who's comfortable with his receivers. I like the Jets tonight on the road, and I think it's bad news for Buffalo.
Well, we definitely agree there. I definitely think the Jets are going to win tonight because they have to. Both teams have to. And to be quite honest with you, I'm sick and tired of Rex Ryan's mouth for crying out loud, dropping F-bombs all over the place, trying to inspire his team, doing all of this other stuff. He's great at making headlines. He's not necessarily great at winning football games. Rex Ryan has proven himself to be exactly like his father, God rest his soul, the great Buddy Ryan. He was a phenomenal defensive coordinator, but the word phenomenal doesn't get attached to his resume when it comes to that of being the head coach. And that is the issue with Rex Ryan right now. Rex Ryan has proven that he knows what he's doing defensively, although there was a drop-off for Buffalo from 54 sacks to just 21 last year, and it seemed to be a bit discombobulated with Mario Williams not even wanting to be there, with him throwing a hybrid 3-4 out there and guys having to adjust, and guys that are prone to rushing the passer, and they had a history of that, forced to drop back in coverage because this is what Rex Ryan had them doing. Instead of adapting to his talent, he was trying to get talent to adapt to his system, and that didn't bode well for them last year. They got to make amends for that. We understand that. Rex Ryan is great at making headlines, but ultimately that's what it comes down to. He's great at making headlines. When he wins football games, it appears to be against the Jets, and that's why Todd Bowles and the crew have to step up tonight, answer the bell, understand the level of urgency, stop getting beat down by Rex Ryan coach teams, handle your business, do what you have to do if you're Ryan Fitzpatrick. Don't be 1-5 against them or 1-8 or whatever the hell the record is. Ryan Fitzpatrick's got to step up. Matt Forte has to step up. Brandon Marshall has to step up.
Stephen A., I want to interrupt you for 1 second because I want to get to that Rex Ryan sound so we can dive deeper into this conversation. So he spoke in a documentary titled Rex and Rob Reunited on the subject of coaching and how he potentially lost his swagger there. Take a listen.
All right, guys, let's get going. First things first, everything's questioned. I forgot how to coach. Oh, hell, the players don't respond to Rex. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. So that puts a massive chip on my shoulder. Every one of us in here has something to prove. Nepotism. Rob, the only reason Rob's here because of nepotism. Really? Okay. We all know how good a coach he is, but maybe the rest of these people don't. But they're going to find out, aren't they? People are going to see. They're going to see who the hell the Buffalo Bills are. The best revenge is massive success. Don't be afraid of it. I don't give a shit. Who knows it? Here we are. Here the we are. Do we have work to do? You're damn right. We got a shitload of work to do to get there. But aren't we the guys for the job?
Well, there's that. He forgot how to coach, and the man who was once praised as the players' coach is no longer getting a response from his team. That is scary. Powerful words by Rex. Stephen A., explain to me, what is he trying to accomplish?
Well, he's motivating his players, and he prides himself on being a player's coach, somebody that is skilled at ingratiating himself with personnel to the point where they will go out there and perform at a max level for him. There was a time where it worked. There was a time when I believed in Rex Ryan. There was a time when I looked at Rex Ryan and thought that, you know what, he was the right man because he came to New York City, bloviating and blustering and what have you, and he took them to back-to-back AFC championship games, which was an incredible and phenomenal accomplishment considering the Jets' history. But from that moment forward, Rex Ryan has been home in the postseason watching games just like the rest of us. Rex Ryan coaches during the regular season. During the postseason, he is nowhere to be found. Maybe in the Bahamas, maybe in Hawaii, but it damn sure ain't on an NFL field during playoff time over the last 5+ years. That's the reality of the situation. Rex Ryan is not getting it done. And so when he sits up there and he talks about people doubting him, he's absolutely right. He's not wrong. But he's incomplete in what he's conveying to the players as to why those doubts have come forward. The doubts have come forward because they've justifiably been there. The numbers prove it. His record proves it. And when you have bravado and it's matched with no results, full of bluster and all of that stuff signifying absolutely nothing. That's what Rex Ryan's resume has been. I root for the man. I don't want him to lose. I mean, I want him to lose now because he's in Buffalo, and I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm more of the New York City fans, and, of course, I'm a diehard Steeler lover. But when I look at Rex Ryan, you don't want to root against him. You don't want him to lose, but you do find yourself consistently looking at him and saying, quote, he's really a defensive coordinator, just like when his dad coached the Chicago Bears as the defensive coordinator. Mike Ditka was the head coach. But Buddy Ryan was so phenomenal that the players carried him off the field, too, because that defense was what it was all about. I think Rex Ryan has much more of a chance of a lengthy NFL career being that guy than being a head coach, because as a head coach, at least one side of the ball doesn't work for him. For years, it was the Jets' defense. He goes to Buffalo, and suddenly it's their offense is good, and their defense wasn't yet last year. He can't seem to get the whole package together. That's Rex Ryan's problem.
Well, the problem with Rex Ryan is that, to be a loud coach in the AFC East, can you imagine? You're in the same division with the greatest coach who ever lived. You're never going to win. In the long run, you're always going to be at best second best. And Gase just got to Miami, so after Buffalo, I don't know that there's a job open in Miami, especially the way the defense looked week 1 at Seattle. In a way, I feel sorry for the guy. You're a loud, boisterous guy who talks a game, and Bill Belichick's in your division. Case closed. It's over. It's over for you. The reason Rex Ryan is turning up the volume now, it's Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11. He's at 10 all the time. So where does he go from here? His X's and O's and his execution and his game planning has not, I'm just stating fact, has not been good enough in recent years. Hasn't been good enough. So what I'm hearing from him basically is do the same thing you're doing, only harder. And the thing about football is at times that can actually work. It's an adrenaline sport. It's a full contact sport. If you win at the point of contact on the line of scrimmage, things like that, the team is a little extra motivated. But he's been, that could have an effect. And maybe it did once upon a time. But if you're always doing that, if that's constantly the message, eventually, of course, the players have to tune that out. If not tune it out, they're already operating on a certain level. You can't push them any farther because they hear it from you all the time. It's not like a coach who's not not prone to do that, suddenly giving you a kick in the pants and, oh my God, this guy never. No, that's always Rex. So just keep what you're doing only harder. The problem now is also, he had 2 defensive players tweet, I think it was, about how they'd taken Uber because they missed the team bus. That's, you know, his brother's working with the defense. That looks bad. You're going to hear nepotism. You're going to hear too much of a player's coach. You're going to hear discipline issues. Of course, if they're winning, you don't hear any of that stuff. But if you're losing and that stuff comes out, of course you're going to hear that. Now, I'm glad you brought up Buddy Ryan, Stephen A., because imagine you're a kid and you see your father, who's not the head coach, carried off the field by his players. That must leave an indelible impression upon you. You have to be thinking that you want to be that you want to be loved, because that's love from players. You want to be loved like that. And maybe it's not saying a head coach can't be loved like that, but maybe that's not always the best thing for a head coach, or the path. It's the easiest path, or the straightest path that's most conducive to success. But clearly, he wants that. He wants to win and have his players love him like that.
Everybody wants to be loved, but that don't mean you have to care about it if you don't get it. I mean, hey, news flash. Yes, Stephen A. Smith himself, I would love to be loved. I just don't give a damn if I'm not outside of the people in my inner circle, because it really does not matter. Because what matters to me are results. It does not matter to me how affectionate people are towards me.
I love you, Stephen A. If it makes any difference, I love you. If it makes you feel better.
I appreciate it. I thank you for it. But I wouldn't care if you did it. It just doesn't matter to me, okay? At the end of the day, what this comes down to, if you're Rex Ryan, I know you'd like to believe that, but it's not true. Here's the deal. The bottom line is this. When you look at Rex Ryan, you've got an offense. Now, mind you, for years in the Jets, you had Mark Sanchez. Don't get me started with Mr. Butt Fumble himself, okay? You had a running attack, and you had a stout defense, and that's what you lived off of. Now you're in Buffalo. What happens here? You've got, for the first time, you had a quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. You got LaShawn McCoy, who's an absolute stud. In the offseason, you secured the left side of your offensive line with Cordy Glenn and Richie Incognito. Haven't heard that name in a while, but evidently he's doing a damn good job, and they're happy to have him in Buffalo. Good for him. The point that I'm trying to make is you buffered your line of scrimmage. You protected the blind side of Tyrod Taylor. You know that because you're the stout, brilliant defensive mind, that the defense for the Buffalo Bills is expected to be better this year, and yet you walk into the season opener, albeit against John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. You walk into the season opener, and you've got Tyrod Taylor, and you've got LaShawn McCoy, and you score 7 points, and obviously Tyrod only passes for 111 yards. Sammy Watkins wasn't 100% healthy. Had that foot injury, is expected to play tonight. We understand they're listing him as probable. But in the end, what it comes down to is that there always seems to be a problem in one area or the other with Rex Ryan's team. He never seems to have it all.
Well, you brought it up, Stephen A. You brought it up. What quarterbacks has he had to work with? We'd like Tyrod Taylor to be the real deal. He seemed at times last year to be the real deal, but we don't know yet if he's going to stick consistently as an excellent NFL quarterback. If I had to bet money, I would bet on Tyrod Taylor. But the track record isn't totally there. And other than that, who has he had? He really hasn't had a stud quarterback. So that can go a ways towards stunting your defense. Your offense.
Yeah,
you don't have a guy.
But that's not the point.
You don't really have a guy to pass the ball.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is Rex Ryan seems to have messed up in a myriad of ways over the last 5 years. Offense one day, defense another, quarterback 1 year, defensive line another. There always seems to be something with this guy as the head coach. But the only thing he's consistent about is winning headlines. That's the bottom line.
That's true. By the way, Revis and Watkins matchup. Where's Revis Island? Is Watkins going to be 100%? Will he, in fact, play? If he does, how successfully? What will it mean if Revis is on? It's interesting.
Matchup within the matchup. For the record, Jets are favored by 1. And Stephen A., you're starting to grow on me a little bit. We want you, just kidding. You saw the interview I did. It was all love. We want you guys to weigh in at home on who you got tonight, Jets or Bills. Go on to the First Take Twitter page and vote. We'll have those results at the end of the show.